Hi everyone, it's Kristen Redmond, and today we're going to go over those planetary aspects that are surrounding us and affecting us for this week, December 19th through the 25th. And this week we have so much going on, of course, energetically with Christmas and holidays and all of that energy that's happening, but there's a lot happening on an astrological scale too as we ramp up towards the end of the year and move into 2017. So I'm going to get right to it because I'm going to be talking and yapping for a while here. So first thing that happened was yesterday, Mars went into a new sign. And Mars is our planet that's like the engine. It drives us. It gives us our motivation. And it pushes us to kind of take charge of ourselves and others and to be a leader. The main thing it does is it's all about our drive. Anyway, so it moved into a new sign yesterday. It went from being an Aquarius for the past 6 weeks and kind of pushing us to think differently, to do things differently, and really push ourselves to be a unique individual. And now it's moving into the sign of Pisces. And Pisces is a water sign. And Pisces is the very last sign of the zodiac, and it is the most metaphysical of the signs. So when you take a fiery, hot planet like Mars and it lands into such an introspective water sign like Pisces, it's such a mystical sign, it really gives us all a drive to check out that metaphysical side of ourselves, right? To really venture into areas and territories maybe that we hadn't before. We have more energy for that. And our dreams, of course, are going to become a lot more insightful with the action steps we need to take to achieve our waking dreams in our lives, okay? We're going to really start getting a lot of extra guidance in regards to that from our angels. So be sure to pay attention to that in the upcoming weeks, in the next 6 weeks. Another thing, when Mars goes into Pisces, we become a lot more empathetic with our fellow man, with others. And the problem is with, that's a wonderful thing. It's great for us all to be driven and determined to really care for the emotional health of others and the ones around us. But when Mars is in Pisces, we kind of blur that line between ourselves and others, and we may lose ourselves in that. So just be careful in the next 6 weeks that if you're extending yourself to helping others, just make sure you're helping them to help themselves, or else you're going to find that you're going to be doing a lot of the helping yourself, and they're not really doing their part and not learning the lessons that they need to out of it. So that's just a thing with that, with Mars going into Pisces over the next 6 weeks. But we also have, yesterday what started was the Mercury retrograde. And Mercury retrograde always gets such a bad rap. It does. It brings some weird stuff. It happens 4 times a year when Mercury goes into retrograde, and really that's the only planet that gets any notoriety when it does go into retrograde. A retrograde, of course, just means that the planet appears to be moving backwards. It's not really moving backwards. It's just standing still, and the rest of the universe is kind of spinning in its own rate, and it's like it's going backwards, but it's not. It's just kind of going back into its own world. And Mercury is the planet of thought. So when it goes retrograde, we also have that opportunity for the 3 weeks to really go back in our mind, to really search memories, to search our thought patterns, our communication styles, and where they may not necessarily work. It's a chance to kind of reinvent them. Maybe take some time to restructure them, especially because Mercury is in the sign of Capricorn right now. Capricorn is the sign in the zodiac. It's an earth sign, so it's very focused on tangible earthly matters. It's the career-driven sign of the zodiac, very focused on work and what it's here to do, and the hard work that it takes to get that done. Getting our nose to the grindstone is what that's about. So when Mercury is retrograde in that sign, we really start thinking of how we can restructure our boundaries so we can get ourselves into some solid footing when it comes to career. Maybe replanning some steps in what it is you want to do for the career coming up. What is it? Do you want to change your life? Do you want to change the trajectory of where your job and your career is at? Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it when Mercury is in retrograde. A lot of time for, that's the thing with Mercury retrograde. I have it written on here and circled that it's really a mental and a communication timeout. The universe kind of gives us that mental break that we need from going, talking. That's why they say Mercury retrograde is such a pain in the butt, because that's when calls don't go through, that's when emails don't send, that's when we miscommunicate with others. But this one in particular is a good one because it starts out the new year. It starts 2017 out on that note of maybe not necessarily talking. It's a chance to reflect back and think how we want to replan for the future. Okay, a lot of that energy going into it, and that doesn't usually happen at the beginning of the year. So, like that too, we've got that energy of Capricorn, right? We just talked about that. It's such a hard-working sign. The sun's going to be transiting into Capricorn on Wednesday, I believe, 21st. I should know that's my sister's birthday. Yes, on the 21st, okay? The sun moves into Capricorn. And when the sun moves into Capricorn, it starts shining a light on all of that for us. So you're all going to find that we're very focused on our career. We're very focused on our structures and our environment. It's also a time when we're focused on the father figures, paternal figures in our life, and just in general the boundaries that we set for ourselves and others, because it's ruled by the sign, by the planet Saturn, and Saturn is the teacher that helps us to kind of set those correct parameters for ourselves and for others, so that way we don't get trampled on, or we don't trample on other people. So you're going to find a lot of energy working for that as the sun transits through that sign over the next month as well. So obviously we got a lot of focus on those things, right? And when the sun moves into Capricorn on the 21st of December, it's also the time that ushers in the Winter Solstice. And of course, the summer solstice and the winter solstice are so very important in astrology, because it signifies when the sun is at its highest and its lowest, in conjunction to the planet Earth. Okay, in the summertime, it's at its absolute highest, so we have the longest day of the year. And when it's here in the wintertime, it's at its lowest point. It's even with the horizon. Back in the ancient cultures, it was almost like the sun disappeared to them because it was so dark for so long. And they figured that in that time the sun was being reborn, okay, when the sun was at its lowest, and they celebrated that death because through death comes the rebirth. And in astrology, the sun represents us. It represents you and me, okay? So in theory, the way that we look at it, not in the ancient ways that our ancestors may have, but we kind of jazz it up in a modern term and see it that as the sun kind of dies and is reborn, so too are we, right? This gives us this opportunity, especially with Mercury being in retrograde, to really rehatch all those things, those structures that make us who we are, that career, that face and facade that we put out to this world, how the world sees us. We have a chance to have that reborn, just like a rose has to bloom fully in the summertime, right? Like at the summer solstice, when the sun is at its height, that's when we shine our brightest, and the greatest parts of ourselves, we're ready to bring that out. But in the solstice, it's that rose dies, and that rose has to die so it can be reborn again in the spring. And that's kind of where we will all be at also in that time of the winter solstice. We all get a chance to really go back and to reflect. It's the darkest day of the year and the darkest night of the soul, and it's meant to be that way. We need to really be able to reflect on ourselves internally and kind of let certain things die, let things go to rest. Parts of us that we no longer need, that have grown, we've outgrown. Time to let that bring in the new birth and the new rose for the upcoming year. And 2017 is going to be such a positive year. So much of that I'll talk about, and then my sister and I, Angela Chapko, spiritual medium, and I will be doing a video on that, more about 2017 and the energy it brings next week. But long and short of it, 2016 has just been a year of crazy stuff, crazy things, unexpected changes, unexpected happenings that kind of push us to change ourselves and kind of push us to be the real us, to be the real person that we really are. And 2017 is a year that brings a lot of positive energy and renewed hope and optimism and faith that this really tumultuous year is going to bring the changes that we need. It is. So, but for the rest, let's not get into next year. Let's talk about the rest of this week, okay? This wonderful week of Christmas. So we got on Christmas Eve, there's this amazing, wonderful, harmonious trine that's going to be happening between Saturn. Remember, we talked Saturn is the ruler for Capricorn, so it's the structure teacher planet. It's going to be making a harmonious connection to the planet Uranus. And Uranus has been that planet that's done so much to us over this year, bringing those unexpected changes, whether good or bad. Okay, Uranus brings unexpected things, and that's been what's happening this year. But Uranus is also the thing that liberates us. It frees us. It's so freedom focused. So it comes in and it kind of breaks those chains of bondage that hold us back. So you think of that, chains are kind of like those fences and structures that Saturn makes. So at this point, those two come together and it creates this, it opens like a doorway for us really to break free from those chains of the past and to kind of change those rules up a little bit. Uh-oh, telephone ringing. Kind of change those rules up a little bit, right? Kind of go beyond those boundaries and do it in ways that are new and fresh. It's kind of a way to say goodbye to those old issues, those old, I have no idea what that word is I wrote there. It looks like convertibles. So get rid of those old convertibles, everybody. Nobody needs an old LeBaron, okay? Nobody wants that. Whatever. Getting rid of old things that no longer serve us. Absolutely. And the thing is that with this all happening, where Saturn and Uranus and where the moon is going to be at that time, they're all fire signs. So it creates this harmonious triangle of fire energy under this to kind of push us to have confidence. Fire is such a confidence builder. The confidence to really shed these old ways and to kind of move forward, which is such a perfect transition into this new year, isn't it? We really are. We're going to have that energy behind us to push through, especially since that mystic rectangle opened that gate for us to really start letting go of things that don't serve us. There's so much of that energy at the end of this year to really finally let some of these things go to bed and let that rose die, to bring forth that new rose, that next generation of ourself that's ready to bloom. So another thing that's going to happen is on Christmas Day. This is the third trine that's happened. Did I say this? I don't think I said that. That Saturn-Uranus trine that we had that opens this wonderful doorway for breaking free from the past or old ways of dealing with things. We haven't had that happen since 2003. Okay, so it's been a long time. 13 years. Holy goodness gracious, that's a long time here. Where this opportunity is coming up to kind of break free and do things in that regard. So a lot of that energy to change things up for the new year, isn't it? I should have mentioned that before, but now I have. And now Christmas Day, right? We've got this amazing harmonious trine, and this has happened 3 times this year, so this isn't quite as rare, but it's a beautiful event when it happens, because Venus is a harmonious planet about love and money and harmony. It's about harmony. It's a harmonious, balanced planet. And when it makes a connection to Jupiter, Jupiter's the planet of luck, okay? So the two of those, when they meet together, it makes a really peaceful energy for whatever that day or two is around. So such a wonderful energy to have for Christmas Day. I see that being a very blessed, wonderful, and happy time, not just for the holiday itself, but obviously for that energy too that it brings. And with all of this change that's going to be happening with all these wonderful planets, solar system bringing us this energy for change for the upcoming year. So, let's do the stone first. I'm so backwards here today. Let's see who's working with us, right? The angels, spirits, whatever, whomever it is that wants to come in and bring us some energy here. Tell us what you need us to know for this week of Christmas. They're so adamant about going over here. Okay. A chrysocolla. Well, you know what's interesting? Okay, yet again, good old Archangel Sandalphon has been such a little bugger. I tell you what, this dude is showing off in I swear, so many readings this year that we've done. I'm going to go on the alternate side of this, though, because I'm going to be a little bit more inclined. I mean, of course, Sandalphon, he was there last week. He's the angel of music and messages and things like that come through our messages. He's going to be around no matter what, no matter when, if you hear a song or something that's a loved one or an angel coming through to talk to you. But today I'm going to take this one, is Archangel Haniel, okay, the angel of the moon. The angel of the moon, who also is a blue color. And that's what we're going to go with today, because it kind of goes in that idea with that winter solstice, kind of going back and reflecting on ourselves. The moon kind of represents our memories and our inner self, our emotional self, our hidden self. And it also represents the ability that we have to nurture ourselves and to nurture others as well. So in this time when the winter solstice hits is a time when we're really supposed to go back and find a way to nurture ourselves the best in introspection. So I feel, as I break this chrysocolla into, that it's Archangel Haniel that's going to be around us this week, bringing us that support and energy to reflect correctly. Okay, so Archangel Haniel, what is it you want to tell us here? I have to put this into 3 piles. Okay. And then we will see. Archangel Haniel rules the sign of Cancer. Cancer is a sign that's very family focused, very focused on providing stability and structure for the ones it loves. Represents the mother energy within each one of us. So therefore, I am going to shuffle this one more time because it rules the 4th house. I didn't tell you that. It rules the 4th house in astrology, and that's exactly what Haniel is going to tell us today. Oh, isn't that something? We were talking about the sun and the solstice and what it means. This is the card, the sun, okay? It represents us, represents our ego. It represents what we do in this world and how we do it, okay? Remember, we said the sun is going to be at its lowest point. We won't have sunlight as long this week. But no matter what, the sun's still there, right? Even though the ancients thought that it died, it gets reborn, okay? And with that, too, it says that through that death, this is what the card represents, the sun, that there's a happy outcome ahead, brilliant new ideas that lead to success, and to have confidence in yourself. Remember, we talked so much about that, too, about having this confidence to really be able to do what it is that we need to do to move forward into this next year in wonderful energy. So I love that. The sun. Oh, and look at this. Look at this really quickly here. We got 4 sunflowers, too. 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, we were just saying Cancer represents that. You know, you think of it, the sun and the moon balance one each other out. They really do. They're the luminaries of our solar system. So of course, it would be fitting that the angels would bring forth the sun and the moon here for us today, representing our outer self and our inner self and finding the balance between the two. And that's kind of what that solstice helps us to do, is bring that balance between the two. This time we're focusing more on the inner self, though, this week. So I'm going to shuffle this guy 4 times as well to see what's the main thing they need us to be focusing on this week through that. So I feel really strong about this one. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh. I'm funny. Jack, please stop. Got a little Christmas music here for us here. Balance. How ironic is that? Isn't that something? Well, that's what we're focusing on, right? Finding that balance between the two, like I literally just said. So I guess I don't need to focus on that. Let's focus on the chakra aspect of it too. Obviously, the balancing of things along those lines, bringing balance and harmony with the family. Keep that in mind too, because we got this upset family up in here as well. That Venus and Jupiter trine this week is going to help bring a harmonious energy to the holidays this year for us, where Thanksgiving kind of was like a really jacked up time with some bad energy. Christmas is a much happier energy in astrological terms this year, so there's balance with that as well. But I'm also going to look at it from a chakra standpoint here. This is the crown chakra at the very top of the head, and we're trying to bring this balance right between the outer self, the inner self. Those angels that are going to be coming through this week, especially now that Mars has moved into Pisces, bringing information to us how to balance these dudes, that sun and the moon polarities in ourselves, that male and female energy, action and of knowing and doing. They're going to help bring that answer through our dreams too, if you're acute enough to listen to them, and that comes through that crown chakra. So this week, let's ask for Archangel Haniel, angel of the moon, to come through, help cleanse that area, to increase and heighten our intuition so we can see how to better brighten our sun and to bring that new crop of sunflowers in for the coming year. Okay, everybody out there, have a wonderful and blessed Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you all, and we'll speak with you next week. Bye.